Folks, we just got back from the 2020 ATA show. We had a blast. Annie and I went, and I've been thinking about how to put everything together in perspective and do my review. So we thought this afternoon we'd come out and get in our deer stand and talk about crossbows and maybe even get to shoot a deer this evening before the season's over with here in Louisiana. But anyway, once again, I want to thank all the manufacturers for coming to the ATA show, putting up their booths, spending that kind of money, getting their shooting lanes together. And this year I've been noticing since the ATA show, a lot of people have really been all up in the air about $3,000 crossbows and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you something, folks. The high dollar crossbows and the companies that are producing these high dollar crossbows are where the technology is coming, so that the lower end crossbows are getting brought up in the technology world. I mean, I'm gonna tell you this, there wasn't a crossbow at the ATA show I couldn't go and hunt anything on the North American planet. I mean, on the North American continent with. I'm telling you, even the low end, I shot bows from below $300 to above $3,000 on the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Every bow we shot were great. Okay, I'm all about crossbows, and I just want y'all to know that, whether they're $3,000 or they're $300 or whatever the price of that crossbow is, go find one that fits you, fits your budget, fits your style of shooting, and just totally makes you, when you pick that crossbow up, you've got 100% confidence in what you're doing. Now, I shot all the crossbows. We went up to all the booths. Man, just had a blast doing it. But I want to say something for a few companies this year that overall, all the speed bows out there. What was kind of funny, all the speed bows that are 470, 440, 460, whatever they're shooting, 480, whatever they're shooting now, most of them gained a little weight. And I don't mean they got fat. What they're doing is to create those speeds and that much energy in those bows, they're having to beef them up. I noticed that overall, most of your bows gain weight, which is not a bad thing, because it, just helps produce those kind of speeds out of crossbows. Something else I noticed, most companies really up their game on the triggers. I'm going to, 10 Point did. Barnett really upped their game this year. From last year to this year, Barnett really brought their game up, and I was proud to see that. And most every company out there really upped their trigger game, which, hey, the better the trigger, the better you're going to shoot. That's just the way it is. Some new bows that are out there, prototype. I shot the Axe. There was a lot of hype about the Axe crossbow. They brought a prototype to the show. I got to shoot it. That's a 9.5 pound bow. They got a long way to go, but it's got some great features on that bow. Man, there's just so many bows that we got to shoot. All the every brand out there. So if I don't mention your brand, believe me, I shot that bow. I really did. And it was a great experience again, but and shooting all the bows, I'm gonna give the manufacturers a little suggestion. Because every time I step to a shooting booth, I ask them, are your crossbows sighted in? A lot of them aren't. And I like to really, really shoot well, especially in front of my wife, so I don't get picked at. But anyway, when I shoot a crossbow, and I know you're only shooting just a few yards, I want to hit the target. I want to hit dead zero in that target. Now, a lot of them are shooting 4 and 5 inches off. Take the time to zero those crossbows in, or anything that you're having people shoot, because I want to be able to hit and really feel that bow and get the confidence that I want out of shooting that bow. Now, I will give Barnett one thing. I shot a lot of their lifesavers off their target with their bows, because most of their bows are zeroed in, and a couple of them wasn't, and they zeroed them in before I left the booth, and we had fun. All the booths I had fun at. The crank system, a lot of people want me to talk about the crank system on the 10 Point. I'm going to give 10 Point an A+ on their trigger. Their crank system It's a good crank system, but it needs a few bugs worked out of it. Even the guy at the booth that was demonstrating it to us had a couple issues trying to get it cranked up and uncranked and all that kind of good stuff. But I think they're headed in the right direction. I'll tell you somebody else, Excalibur brought their game this year like I've never seen Excalibur bring their game to the ATA show. Raven, of course, they got the high dollar bows. They had a great bow. Centerpoint, they're the midline bows. There's no doubt about it. And I tell you who I was disappointed in. I normally don't like to talk bad about anybody, but Darton, man, y'all can do better than what you did. I'm just going to say it like that. But I'm going to just kind of conclude the whole show like this. We shot all the bows. Andy shot some bows. I shot them all. And it came down to 2 bows this year for me on the top end. On the low end, Bear, oh my God, they're low end. They're entry, I'll call it Lynch entry-level bows. You can't go wrong with a Bear. You just can't. Their entry-level bows are fantastic, inexpensive bows. Mid-range bows, God, everybody brought a mid-range bow this year. I mean, everybody is in the mid-range bow. So you just find one that fits you, feels great, fits your budget, like you like the way it shoots. But Centerpoint, with that Raven front end, we call it the working man's Raven. It's what, a $7.99 bow, something like that. I'm telling you, that bow for the money is unbelievable in the mid-range price bows. Barnett had some great mid-range price. Everybody that I shot their bows had a good mid-range price, but I will give the entry-level bows to Bear, because Bear brings a game on the entry-level bows like nobody else brings a game. There was one little entry-level bow that I actually shot a Robin Hood with this year, was a Diabow, D-I-A-B-O-W. Never seen them. I think it was their first year at the show. I look for those guys to really do something in the low-end entry-level bows, because this was their first year there, and they really had a sweet shooting little bow. But in the scheme of things, it came down to 2 bows, and I had to go back and shoot them again and again to really just see which one I was going to give the bow of the year to, and it came down between the Excalibur Assassin TD 400 and the Scorpid 420 Deathstalker. I started with it this year because that was the bow I gave the bow of the year last year, so that's the bow I wanted to start shooting this year, just to go back and refresh myself with that bow and just see where everybody else stood next to that bow. Well, the only bow that got really, I'm talking about, and it ain't the price of the bows, because these are probably $1,400, $1,500, $1,600 bows, and the 2 that I'm talking about, and that depends on how you package them out. But the Excalibur TD 400 Assassin and the Scorpid 420 Deathstalker, wow. Here's what I love about those bows. Both of them have fantastic triggers. Both of them have their weight to the back, no forward heaviness when you're holding that bow. Both of them were tack drivers. I mean, I did some great shooting with those bows. But I got to give it to one of them. Now, I will say this. You can get a crank, built-in crank on the Excalibur, which was a very good crank. But I just got to give it to Scorpion. Once again, they brought their game. Their game is on. They've got the most balanced, the best, quietest shooting crossbow on the market, period. End of conversation. So, with that said, Jim, you and the guys at Scorpion, I just can't say enough about your product. And y'all just can continue to do what you do, because I know you're leaders in technology in the crossbow industry, and I appreciate that. Now, once again, folks, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't have a dog in anybody's hunt. I buy my own crossbows. I shoot my own crossbows. And the crossbow I'm currently shooting wasn't even at the ATA show, and it's a vertical crossbow, so I can't give them crossbow of the year because they weren't at the ATA show. But that's just the way I am. If it's not at the ATA show, I'm not going to give it. I mean, it's just, I can't put it in the hunt because they didn't show up. But it's a great crossbow. But with all that said, 2020, let's see, what's next year? 2021, something like that. I can't even keep up. But we had a great time, enjoyed it. And until next year, y'all go out there, find a bow that fits you, fits your budget. Don't worry about what somebody else has got. Shoot what you like to shoot, get you some custom-made bolts or arrows for your crossbow, and go enjoy hunting, go enjoy shooting, because that's what Annie and I do. We enjoy this, and that's why we're sitting in a deer stand this evening, because we enjoy the time together and the great outdoors, and we enjoy the sport of crossbow shooting.